Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the studio this evening. And tonight, what we are going to paint together, as you can see, is this beautiful little goldfish here. I've wanted to paint goldfish for a long time. I've painted them a long time ago and had a lot of fun painting them, and I thought it'd be a good, fun time to paint another one. Here I'm using my, thank you for showing the color card there, I'm using my Mission Gold Class Watercolor paints. You can see them in the lower right hand corner there. You can see what I'm mixing as I mix it. I'm using a sheet of Arches paper. It's been cut down from a larger size to the size that is here. It's about 6 by 9, maybe just a little larger than that, and I've pre-drawn my goldfish on there. Looks like I forgot to draw a little bit of it. The brush that I've got in my hand is one you don't often see me use. I typically have this in my travel kit, but I've got it here with me right now. It looks like my normal Dana brushes, but this one happens to be a Winsor & Newton Squirrel Mop brush. I like it very, very much. And what I'm starting by doing is just wetting my paper, getting a little bit of color on there. A little lemon yellow, permanent yellow deep if you have this color set at home. And darkening it up with a little bit of permanent red or maybe just a touch of rose madder. I've dipped into a little bit of yellow orange there. With my other colors. And what I'm hoping to do with this is get one layer on here, or get the fish mostly painted, then paint the background and go over some of the very light areas in this fish's tail to make it look like there's a little water in front of it. Maybe it's not so bright or not so orange. When you look at it, hopefully that will work out for us. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm looking at my reference photo and I'm just trying to get some of the colors on in those general areas where they are in the reference photo, of course. Now, I don't know what area of the country or what time of the year you are watching this video. For me, it seemed to be fairly warm when I initially recorded this video. As I'm doing my voiceover for this, it's been a few months. It's pretty chilly. I'm in the studio. I've got a long sleeve shirt on and a sweatshirt on over top of that. I hope wherever you're at, you're a little warmer than where I am. I am doing this in a couple of pieces. And when I say that, what I mean is I am filling in this base, this first coat, this first layer of color in a couple of different pieces. You could do this all at once. There's no real reason you have to break it up into different sections. It could work out just as fine if you got the entire fish, fins included, wet all at once. I just chose to do it this way. No particular reason. But this is how it happened to be the night that I wanted to paint this. And same thing as with the body here, just trying to get the whole thing wet. Covered with a little bit of paint. Excuse me for that small delay. I've got a cup of coffee here that's keeping me nice and warm. All right, and there we go. That to me is going to be a good first layer of paint on here. Yeah, I forgot a fin back there. We'll take care of that a little bit later. Not going to worry too much about it. In fact, I think I'm going to take care of it right now. I did skip forward a couple of minutes here. All you got to miss was me drying the page so that this fish isn't wet anymore. We can move ahead with some other things. So the video jumped there just a second. That's all that was. And there we go. Just going back into my normal mix that I have Again, a little permanent yellow deep, maybe a little yellow orange in there, and where I want to show a little bit of color, a little bit of rose madder. It looks like I've somehow gotten just a touch of blue in there. I'm betting it is a little bit of peacock blue. That's what it looks like to me. That's gone back in there. And anyways, we are now ready for a second coat of paint on this fish. We're going to punch up those areas that I think need to be brought out and made brighter. We're going to orange up a few areas, and we're generally just going to make this guy pop off the page here. So we're starting with this nice bright orangey red on this guy's head, painting it right around his eye. Here's a little orange, a yellow orange going on there. There we go. Look, it looks beautiful, and you can just see, you can just make out the difference between the orange around his eye and the brighter red on top of his head. I'm painting kind of around his gill. As I look at the reference photo, there seems to be a line of demarcation right there, and I can use that to my advantage to paint in a smaller area rather than having to paint the entire fish all at once. Now I'm going to go on to the body of this fish, and I'm going to get him a little bit wet here. I'm adding a little bit of color, but I'm not really worried about adding the color. What I want to do is get him all wet so that when we start to add some brighter colors here, they all run together and look really nice together. Come on, Michael, let's add some colors on here. Yes, there's the belly of a fish right there. So I've got to, I'm talking about, I need to make sure that I have a line between the belly and really the back end of this fish. I want to make sure that you can tell that he has a big, bloated, extended stomach out there. So I'm just dropping some color on here. Looks like I didn't do much with the wet body of this fish, but I'm going to take this red up and around, and now you can really see what I'm talking about. It really, putting that color on the back really makes the body of this fish look extended out right around him. And that's really what I want. If you look at the reference photo, you can really see he's got this big bulbous belly there, and I want to make sure we get that in this painting. I'm having a little trouble talking as I'm doing my voiceover here. I don't know what's going on. Perhaps it's just that I'm out of practice. Perhaps something else. I don't know, but I'm going to try to clean this up for the rest of this video. Hopefully I'll know what I want to say as I'm saying it, and it won't affect you too much as you're watching. All right, so I'm mixing some nice permanent red, some rose madder. I actually threw a little bit of quinacridone permanent rose in there from what I can see, but I want to keep basically with my color scheme. And now, as you see, I'm extending out onto the fins. And this is really hard to do, not because it's hard to paint, but because the fins get so delicate out there at the end. And I want to get a nice, really gradual, long blend on these colors. There we go. Just let them go out there. They're really gossamer and light way out at the end out there. But in towards the body, it's a bit of a stronger wash, and just blend that way out. Look, a lot of water, a lot of pulling that out as far as it can go. Make it really look like a light area. And then I'm just redarkening the body back here. There it is. Now it's got a little bit more life to it. It really looks like that tail just extends right out. Just trying to fix my blend. I have noticed that from time to time, if I don't get the water right in my brushes, there's some Dana brushes here, and on my table, The Winsor Newton brushes, here they are. I like those very much. I like the Dana brushes very much. They're both really good brushes. And I end up using them both quite a bit. All right, so I'm mixing up some new orange here for the pectoral fins here. It's permanent red and yellow orange in the Mission Gold Class paints. Anybody who's curious about the pigments on those, permanent red is PR112, and yellow orange is pigment orange 73 and pigment yellow 65. These Mission Gold Class paints aren't ones that I would normally use. Everybody knows I love my M. Graham paints, but I am really curious about different paints and the different colors that manufacturers make. And I got into pigments a while ago, and so I've marked on all of my color cards the pigment numbers on all of these. It really is kind of interesting to see, even as same manufacturer, or I mean even with different manufacturers, if you use the same pigment base, sometimes the colors are a little bit different. It's kind of interesting to see, at least for me it is. And then if you're buying different paints, you want to mix and match paints from different manufacturers, it's always nice to know basically the color that you're going to get by seeing what the pigment number that's in the paints is. Something I would recommend. Maybe you don't need to be an expert on it, but it's kind of an interesting thing to look at from time to time so that you know what you're getting when you buy it. All right, I just put a big old stripe on this fish right down the middle. The reference photo, it looks like that middle swath of this fish is kind of in a shadow, and I don't like that a whole lot. I want some nice brighter colors for this guy, so I gave him a bit of a brighter stomach there. I don't know, upper chest area. I'm not sure exactly what you call that on a fish, but I made it a little bit brighter. And if you can just see, I left it light just at the back of the belly where it overlaps the back almost to the tail of him, so we get to keep the two distinct areas there. And I'm going to pull that right on down. This is Arches paper, if I haven't said that before. And one of the good things about Arches paper is that it stays wet for quite a while, and you have the ability to work your painting as it is. And if you have a little too much water on your brush and you put it on there, you're not going to get a huge back run. It's not going to ruin your painting for you. Very much like that about the Arches paper. Most cotton paper is that way. Anyways, and you can tell this fish is really starting to come together. It's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm mixing up some blues. That can only mean that I'm getting ready for the background on this. All right, a little peacock blue, a little cobalt blue, maybe a little cerulean blue. I'm going to put it on there. I've changed to my largest brush on my table. This is number 5 Dana Quill Mop brush. And I'm not doing all the stuff in the tank that's in the reference photo. This guy's swimming in an area that's huge, right? It's the size of a swimming pool, so I can't see anything in the background. Just this fish and some nice water back there, and that's what I'm putting in. I'm taking this moment to define my fins however I want them, right? It's one thing to paint the fins in there, but when you're coming back with a darker color in your background, that's where you can really define whatever you want those fins to look like. You want them to have a little jagged edge, like I just painted there. Perfect. You want them to be nice and smooth. That's good too. All right, I'm dropping a little extra color in here while it's still wet. So hopefully we'll get some nice variation in here, and it doesn't look just like a flat wash. I don't want it to be really a flat wash. That dried a little quicker than I wanted. There we go. Let's drop some up there. And let's see what that looks like when we finish up with it. Take a bead off the bottom. Right, get some good cerulean blue in here. The cerulean blue is one area in this set that I think is different, drastically different than my M-gram set that I'm used to. The cerulean blue in this set is much brighter, much more bold and in your face than in my M-gram set, but I'm going to make it work for me here. Drop in some more. Here it is. Boom, boom, boom. Work that background. Got to make it look kind of interesting. We got to make it look like something is going on here. Again, I don't want it to be just a flat background. Put some water spots on here. Hopefully this will develop and look really interesting when it dries. It should. It should. I just noticed that the left-hand side of this painting seems to be a bit darker than the right-hand side of the painting, the background I'm talking about. I've had this painting hanging on my wall for several months. I never really noticed that. So when it dried, it must not have been such a big deal, but we're going to live with it. And while that's drying, we can come in and we can draw in some of the lighter lines in the fins here. The brush that I have in my hand now is a Princeton Select Rigger brush. This is size number 1. I actually picked this up at an Aaron Brothers when they're having a brush sale one day. This was a number of years ago. And I actually bought 5 or 6 brushes at Aaron Brothers that day, all of these Princeton Select ones. And I think this is the only one of those that I kept. I didn't really enjoy using the other ones. They didn't work for me quite as much as I had hoped. They weren't quite as nice as I thought they were going to be, but I do like the Rigger. It does come to a nice fine point, and so I've kept it and use it from time to time. It's the smallest Rigger brush that I actually have. And it's very small. It doesn't hold much water at all. And sometimes that's good. And here we go. Just all the fins here. I can do this without touching the edge of the paper. It's the only reason I can do this right now. Just going to draw in some of the ribs on these fins. Drop a little color in there and just pull it out. Right, I'm not trying to so much use one load of paint on the brush to do each rib, as much as dropping some on there and pulling it out a little bit. Just like that. One drop of paint on the painting and pull it out, I think works just as well as anything. It actually probably gives you a little bit more control than just trying to do it the other way, where you just load your brush up and use what's on it. And there we go, something very light, very light. Okay, let's put some paint on and pull it out. There it is. This nice, beautiful dorsal fin that this fish has. There we go. Oh, look. Just a little bit of a line here and there, and it helps it look fantastic. All right, and his eye here, this is a little bit of yellow ochre in his eye. I'm going to use that as the base layer, and then we're going to come back on with a little black over top of that. I've switched to a silver black velvet brush here. That's a size number 2, and I've gone to something else now, it looks like, already. But that silver black velvet allows me for some nice control, and I can get some nice lines in there. but it holds a little bit more paint than that rigger brush does. Okay, going back to, oh, I thought I was going to do a little bit more of the background here. Oh, I'm going to put some scales on this guy here and there. Just some little arcs here and there. And again, this is my silver black velvet brush. You don't need much in here. Just enough to show that there are some scales on this guy. You could probably get away with almost some straight lines on here if you really wanted to. A little bit of dark around his eye. Let's make that stand out just a bit. There we go. And look what happened with the background as it's dried. Well, it's really gotten to be a dynamic background back there. And as I say that now, I'm going to pull in a little bit more color. There we go. So the hope is I put this little bit of blue on these fins and it makes it look like a little bit more transparent, right? It's so thin, the edges of these fins that you can almost see through them. So just that little blue tint on there should help with that ever so slightly. Let's do that on all of these fins. There's a little bit on that one. And there's pectoral fins up here. Very, very thin these fins are. Come on, there we go. And so I hope it helps make them look like they're thinner, like there's some blue back behind them, or, you know, through them. Right, there we go. Good, looks good, looks good. Are we dry enough to do anything else? Maybe some of the eye. Getting some dark color in there. It looked like a little indigo and a little bit of ivory black. Maybe there's an eye right on him. Just trying to get it nice and circular. I can live with it being smaller. I can live with it being a little bigger. I just have to make sure that it is really circular before I do anything with it. And I think this guy's looking pretty good. I strengthen. I guess I'm going to go back and strengthen a little bit of the ribbing on this, maybe. We'll put some more blue on it. I'm not exactly sure what I did there. And now I know what I'm going to do. I've got that fin back there that I didn't do anything with, or much of anything with. And it's lighter than everything else, so I've got to darken that up. There we go. Perfect. Pushed it back. Simple as that. Right? It's a little oranger than blue, so I'm going to put a little bit more of that orange color in there, but it's definitely got a lot of blue. So we'll push it back there, and now it looks like it's back on the other side of that fish, back where it should be. And I'm going to just touch up a few areas that I think need to be punched up a little bit more. Not too many, not too much. I could leave it like that and I'd be happy with it, or I can futz with it just a little bit. Anybody who watches me knows I'm probably going to futz with it a little bit. Not quite happy with the way it's been or the way it's gone. I'm going to do a little bit more. We just got a very little left to do. This is my Uniball Sino white gel pen. Here I'm trying to put a little highlight on his eye. So as I put on the final touches on this painting, I'm just going to let you know down below, I have links to my website. I have links to my social media, Instagram and Twitter down there. I did take a little bit of a break from basically everything for a while over this 2020 summer. I had a lot of things get to me, a lot of extra work, a lot of stress. I'm hoping to get back to painting videos, maybe even live videos very soon. I'm going to let everybody know. So there are links down below to my social media where I'll be announcing all of that. If you like this video, give a like down below. A thumbs up would be very much appreciated. I've also got a link down below, I believe, to my coffee account where you can donate money to me to buy a coffee or to help me raise money to fix up the studio as it is right now. I've just got some tarps hanging up and some blankets to wall off my studio, and it's not ideal. I'd like to get some real walls in here. There are links to those. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. Check back soon. I'm going to be back with more, and we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.